Alright, what is up guys, it is Storm back here with another video, and in this one I'm bringing you part 37 to Naruto the Golden Fox. Before we begin, I just want to say be sure to subscribe, like, and comment. Also be sure to go follow me on Twitter and Instagram, the links will be down in the description below. Also go subscribe to my other channels, the links will be down in the description as well. And yeah, I will catch you all in the next video. Now, let's just jump right into this story. Orange and red flames flared up around Senzuru as he glared at his enemy. The phoenix tattoo that was on his left forearm began to glow. As he raised his arm to the side, two flames from his tattoo erupted from the left wing of the tattoo, and another from the right wing. The flame circled the other as it stretched out past his hand to about 67 inches. When the flames joined, the outline of the sword revealed itself. When the glow and the flames decorating the sword died down, the phoenix claw was shown in all its glory. Holding the stainless steel blade with the silver phoenix wing, crossguard, and a Xenos head for the pommel, the Jonin looked fiercely at Aisu, whose eyes began to narrow. Aisu analyzed the situation. That girl, she's a Mishinobi, yet she's helping them. I'll deal with the mist soon enough. Right now, Senzuru is the one I have to focus on. That girl will be next. Her knowledge of sealing jutsu is great. Gripping his sword slightly, his eyes radiated his discontent for the girl and her abilities. Maybe if I take her down, then... His thoughts were cut short when the phoenix claw came within inches of his face. Using the speed that was granted to him by the powers of his dragon contract, Aisu avoided the slash by jumping back. When he landed, Senzuru was standing between him and Sapphire. Don't even think about it. I'm your opponent, Senzuru informed him. His next set of words were directed at Naya, Hinata, and Sapphire. You three form a barrier around everyone. This battle is going to become too dangerous. Naya was aware of the danger that this battle implicated. Her only wonder was, did Senzuru get his power back? Looking at Hinata and Sapphire, we're going to form a barrier. A level 7 barrier is what we're going for here. Hinata's eyes widened a little. Level 7, Sensei, that isn't possible. Yes, it is. But don't worry, Hyuga. With the help of my mother and I, you really don't have to do too much. Just keep up with the hand signs and make sure that you're in perfect sync. Got it? Sapphire said to Hinata, who nodded her head. Naya glanced at Sapphire. What barrier do you have in mind? You already know. Naya took in a deep breath. This barrier, even for her, was something that was hard to do. But she remembered that she did have Hinata and Sapphire, so it wouldn't be as hard, but still difficult given the complexity of it. Naya spoke slowly and carefully. Hinata, this is beyond your skill set. Jiraiya-sensei. Yeah, Naya? I'll need your sealing ability in forming Ten-Un. Landing next to Naya, Jiraiya replied. I understand, but I know. We can't worry about that now. Let's hurry before we get caught in their battle. Looking at Sapphire and Jiraiya, she signaled them that the time was now. Jiraiya formed the tiger seal, Naya the seal of the boar, and Sapphire the seal of the monkey. Simultaneously, they all yelled out, Sealing Jutsu, Ten-Un Kekai. Underneath everyone, the universal hexagon formed. Shinji, who was still very much injured, extended his hand out, reaching for his cousin who was far away. Hayami, I have to get to her. Before he could move, Tsunade grabbed his hand. Don't, you'll be disintegrated to nothing if you step outside of this seal mark. But she's not protected. He'll attempt to kill her again. I have to. Hinata cut him off this time. Shinji, don't worry about Hayami. She's safe. Remember, Sasuke's there, and he will protect her. Also, Senzuru won't let anything happen to her, that I'm certain of. Tamari glanced over at Sasuke. What transformation is that? Is that a result of the curse seal? Sakura nodded and answered. It's the 3rd level of the seal. Upon his return a few years back, he trained to achieve it. He mentioned something about the seal having another level. He was certain because the people whose cells they used to form the seals, Jugo of Tenpin, had reached the 3rd level. Since he could do such a feat, Sasuke himself believed it was an attainable goal. Gaara observed Sasuke for a moment, then came to a conclusion. Judging by his expression, he is doing everything he can to stay in that form. His chakra is too low to maintain it, and even then, I'm not sure he can maintain for too long. That is also true. Level 3 is a double-edged sword to Sasuke right now. When Sakura informed everyone of this, Sasuke reverted back to his normal form. Neji spoke up. Seems like the Uchiha has reached his limit. He barely has enough chakra to move around. The scream that came from Konohamaru caused everyone to turn towards the Chunin. Damn! Big brother Naruto, how could you die? You're invincible. No one can beat you. I can't believe it. He can't be dead. This isn't real. Tears were falling down the teen's eyes. Hanabi placed a hand on his shoulder to comfort him. Yumi's words shocked everyone. Konohamaru. Naruto. He isn't dead. What are you talking about, Yumi? Hino asked. Tsunade felt bad for the girl. She knew what it was like to lose a loved one and to be in denial, but she needed to bring the girl to reality. It would benefit her to come to realize the truth. Look, Yumi, I know you love Naruto, and death, well, that's something we hope never occurs. It hurts me more than you know, but Naruto is dead. I'm sorry, Lady Tsunade, but you're wrong. I can't explain it, but he isn't dead. He's far from here. Even on another plane of existence, who knows, but he is definitely not dead yet. The light is dim, but it still burns. He is alive. I know it. Yumi said with no falsity in her voice. She was certain. Konohamaru grabbed her. Are you sure that big brother Naruto is alive, big sister Yumi? Yeah, I am certain, she said with a smile. This caused the boy to smile as well. Yugao, who was staring at Senzuru, spoke so all could hear. Senzuru is about to do battle. The group turned their attention to the fight about to start. Senzuru was glancing behind himself to see the mark on the ground. Good, no one can interfere. Sasuke, you and Hayami are the only ones outside of the barrier. Protect her. Glancing towards Sasuke. You make sure you protect her. I can't say for certain that you guys won't get caught up in this battle. It's really something I can't control. Sasuke understood. He jumped back as far as he could away from everyone with Hayami tucked under his left arm, and Naruto on his right. Aisu didn't like what was happening, but he knew there was nothing that could be done. He would have to fight Senzuru to the death. There was no escaping it. Gripping his sword, black flames rose from beneath his feet high in the air. Reddish-orange flames did the same for Senzuru, indicating that both warriors were powering up. Within a blink of an eye, the ground erupted into rubble where both men once stood, meeting in the center. The ground beneath them caved in due to the force of the chakra and swords clashing. Fading from view once more, the two were high above everyone. Senzuru didn't waste time swinging his sword at Aisu, who blocked the sword aimed at his head. Pushing Senzuru's sword back, he swung his sword with the intent of cutting Senzuru in half at his waist. His sword connected with Senzuru. At least that's what it looked like until his form turned into flames that were split in half by the black blade. Appearing behind Aisu, who was surprised by the display of movement, Senzuru, whose sword was in his right hand, said with extreme seriousness, I'm not in the mood to sandbag. I'm killing you now. The silver blade turned a fiery orange, bringing the sword in a swift swing from his hip in an upward slash. A trail of orange flame followed, hoping to make contact with Aisu, but he knew it was just wishful thinking. That much was true when Aisu countered with slashing Dragon's Claw. Both swords were stopped by the other. Black flame met with orange, causing a mini explosion in the air that propelled both warriors back to the ground. Landing a distance away from one another, both analyzed the situation. Senjuru's first thought was, he countered at that distance. I should have suspected his speed was at the level by looking at his fight with Naruto. I overestimated my ability, and thought I could end it with one strike. Cutting nail at the Phoenix was cancelled out by slashing Dragon's Claw. It had to be expected, I guess. Well, it seems like he's definitely at his max level at this form. And so am I. I really have to end this soon. Aisu, on the other hand, was thinking something differently. Senzuru. His speed. He was improved, but I was still able to counter. He was the last person I wanted to fight, but I have no choice. What's my next move? I could summon Soros and we could wreak havoc on this village. But then he would summon that blasted Phoenix Xenos, and he would, in the best case scenario, kill one another while destroying the leaf. What to do? I could do that, but wait a minute. Why is he going for the killing blow so early in the fight? That's not like Senzuru. Something is amidst here. Let's see how this one plays out. I don't know what you're up to, but I will find out. Senzuru, his sword in his hand. He sliced one of the dragons in half. Jumping to the side to avoid the other one, he planted his sword in the side of the dragon, engulfing it in reddish flames. Another dragon was coming at him from behind, but doing a 180 spin, he slashed at that dragon. It looked as if his sword missed by an inch until the dragon burst into flames. Aisu didn't move from his location. He just placed his sword behind him to shield himself from the phoenix claw that was now pressed against it. Turning to his left, he pushed Senzuru back. In a Kasumi no Kame stance, Aisu's sword was at eye level. He was in a position to defend as well as attack. Senzuru soon realized that he was preparing for an attack when the black flames were getting sucked into the blade. Shit, that attack, I have to... Aisu saw the expression on Senzuru's face and smiled. Too late. Bringing his sword down to his left hip, he thrust it forward at his enemy. From the blade, a highly concentrated black laser-type beam came at Senzuru full force. The blast connected, causing a large explosion seen within a 100-mile radius of Konoha. Hokage Monument. The shinobi of the Leaf Village, along with the people that were present in the stadium, continued to watch the battle from afar. Tsunade, whose hands were resting by her heart, looked on worried. I wonder if Naruto's okay. Not at all. He's dead. Tsunade, Inari, Tazuna, and everyone turned to the voice and informed them of the bad news. Sai, who was sitting on the fourth head, continued to speak. It seems Naruto was killed by Aisu, protecting that little girl. He exchanged his life for hers. You're wrong. He's not dead. It just can't be, Inari said in disbelief. Sorry to inform you, kid, but it's true. The sword was placed in his gut. I saw it with my own 2 eyes. Either way, I have business I need to take care of. A mission I have yet to complete. Before Inari could say anything else, Sai was gone. The villagers that heard the news started chanting, "The demon is finally dead. We're now safe." Mai, who was looking around at everyone, shook her head. Naruto, how could you die on Yumi? I can't believe you're dead. I won't. Foolish people, they celebrate your death even though you fought for them. Mai looked around and noticed that a few were not cheering. In fact, there were a lot with their heads down. Iruka must have gotten through to some of them. Looking to the sky. Please, Naruto, you have to come back. Limbo. Sneezing, Naruto wiped his nose with his hand. Ah, fuck. Somebody must be talking about me. So, what's this you were saying about becoming the bearer of the light? Looking down at Naruto from his location, he answered the boy's question. Naruto, to achieve the final 2 techniques associated with the sword, you must master Bearer of the Light. You did read about the jutsu in the scrolls, did you not? Nodding. Yeah, I did, but it just said special requirements to teach this technique, and that was it. Really didn't explain what it was. I figure it was just one of those techniques that you would achieve through wisdom and years of training. So you're saying being near death is the only way to reach it? That's exactly what I'm saying, Naruto. Here, I believe these belong to you. The young ivory-haired spirit threw the blade at Naruto, who caught it with the greatest of ease. Naruto held the blade and gave it a once-over. Glancing at the man who had yet to reveal his name, Naruto asked, So, what happens now? A smirk appeared on his face. What happens now is, you fight. Only through fighting will you truly understand who I am, and why you have been chosen. You think you know, but I don't think you fully understand. What can you expect from such a hard-headed person? Seriously. Naruto heard a familiar voice that caused him to tense up. Well, he made it this far. That's to be expected of my son. Another familiar voice caused Naruto to turn around in an instant to see the 2 people he missed dearly. Ryuho-sensei. Mom, is that really you? Naruto asked, needing some validation. Before Ryuho or Kaori could answer, Naruto heard another voice that he hadn't heard in years. So, you've grown into a fine young man, I see, Naruto. Turning to his left, standing on the cliff above, he saw the 3rd Hokage. Old man. Naruto heard the soft voice of a lady behind him. I can't believe it. It's really you. Turning around, he knew instantly this woman was his mother. He couldn't explain how he knew, but he just did. Looking down at the woman, Naruto took a step closer. You're my mom, aren't you? The lady just nodded. They didn't have to say anything. The silence and the gaze at which their eyes met said everything. Standing in a trance, both were broken free when Naruto heard a voice on his right. Wow, last time I saw you, I was holding you in my hands. And now you're just as tall as me. The fourth Hokage, was all Naruto could say. Minato was a little surprised that his son would address him so formally. He glanced over at Sarutobi. Don't tell me he doesn't know, Sarutobi. Naruto answered. I know that you're my father. I'm just surprised to see all of you guys here, especially you and the old man. Pervy Sage informed me that once someone is swallowed by the death god, they're stuck in his stomach for eternity. The fourth shook his head. That's what we thought too. However, it seems that the death god spares all who are willing to make such a sacrifice, and provide them with safe passage to the other side. So, I am dead? Naruto said, scratching his head. Not really. We were actually brought here by... Naruto didn't hear the name his father said. His voice became mute when the name of the blade was mentioned. It didn't go unnoticed to Naruto that more and more men and women appeared around him. These people he didn't recognize, but he was curious to who the hell they were. He immediately looked at the guy that was responsible for him being here. What the hell is this, and who are they? Oh, them? Just former wielders of the blade. You know, people who have achieved the final level. You will be fighting all of them to the death. Killing them will only send them back to heaven. There are some that far exceed you in ability. However, don't let that go to your head. Chances are you will not survive. I will give one bit of advice, so listen carefully. Listen for the name Naruto, and you will hear it. Turning his back on the boy, he walked away. Naruto yelled out, Hey, you fucking bastard, what does that mean? Before he could say anything, he saw blood flying in front of his eyes. Feeling a burning sensation, he looked down to see that his stomach was slashed. The cause of the slash was a female who was crouching, and her sword extended to the far right. All he could do was curse her as he dropped to one knee. You fucking... He felt a sharp pain going across his back that caused him to tense up. Naruto looked around to see that everyone there held the blade that he held in his hand. He started putting two and two together. I get it. I have to fight all of the wielders. This sucks ass. Major ass. Naruto said as he picked himself up off the ground, slipping into the Minashu stance, a stance in which all was in. Naruto surveyed the area. His biological parents were now standing on a hill next to the third and Kaori. Ryuho appeared in front of his pupil and gave his goofy smile. Kind of reminds you of the test of will. Only difference is you will be able to fight with everything you have. Naruto, you do understand what will happen if you lose here today, correct? Naruto nodded. Yes. With that said, I don't have any time to waste. Naruto faded out of view. The female who was standing amongst 100 or so wielders couldn't understand why she was falling to her knees, until the cuts started to slowly appear across her chest. Landing behind her, completely surrounded, Naruto smirked. I'm sure you're all great, but I don't have time to sit and play with you guys. Bring it on and show me what you got. Ryuho's father landed next to Ryuho and said, Damn, this fucking kid is really cocky. Ryuho just nodded in agreement. The third couldn't help but smile. Seems you're still the same, Naruto. Kushina Uzumaki couldn't believe how cocky your son was. How can he be this arrogant? Turning to Minato, who was grinning from ear to ear as he was watching Naruto. Oh yeah, that's why. His arrogance and self-assurance definitely is an inherited trait from his father. Kaori shouted out, Naruto, hurry up and end this. Yumi and Hayami are waiting for you. Naruto glanced at Kaori, who was smiling at him. Don't worry, Mom. I'll finish this in no time. Minato nodded his approval. That's my son. The spirit of the blade had enough of this. This test begins now. Kill him. Naruto found everyone closing in on him. Throwing his sword high in the air, Naruto smiled when everyone got within a few inches of him with their blades. All everyone saw was a yellow flash. Minato, the third Hokage, Kaori, and Kushina were surprised to see Naruto in midair, holding the blade high above his head. He knows that Hiraishin. I see Jiraiya Sensei has given him my scroll, Minato pointed out. The third noted Naruto's speed and use of the Hiraishin. It seems that you have surpassed me. I knew that was coming. The one to carry the will. That was you from the beginning, Naruto. I see that now. Naruto, who was still in the air with the sword high above his head, whispered to himself, Gengetsu. Bringing the blade down in a slashing motion, white chakra left the blade, and came at everyone on the ground. Ryuho's father, who really didn't like Naruto due to his cocky display, jumped toward the incoming attack. As Gengetsu got close to him, he maneuvered around it, and appeared in front of Naruto, who had to block the incoming blade or get sliced in half. Heaven's blade met Heaven's blade. As the two were falling towards the ground, Naruto, who was beneath Anshin, looked in the eyes of the man who looked at the boy with disgust. I can't believe that you were selected over Shinji to wield this blade. It's no wonder why you're in limbo. You're cocky and think that power is the end all power. How do you expect to wield the blade to its fullest potential with this attitude? Anshin said to the boy. They could hear Gengetsu hitting the ground and taking down a few wielders, mainly the ones weaker than Naruto, and that was only a few. The numbers against him were still high. Knowing that he was going to make impact with the ground soon, he held his sword firm above his head, and moved his legs in position to brace himself. As soon as his foot made contact with the ground, it broke up beneath him. He was shielding himself from Anshin's blade, and could sense two figures appear on his side. Shit, if I don't move, they're going to cut me in half. Naruto really didn't know what he could do with the amount of time he had, until he realized he could teleport within a 1-meter radius of the blade. He teleported behind Anshin, avoiding the slash from the other two members, and placed a kick that sent Ryuho's father falling forward. Grabbing his sword, he was going to bring it down, and send the man back to heaven. However, Ryuho stopped the blade from making contact. Forcing Naruto back, Naruto found himself in the middle, surrounded completely, even from above. Ignoring the pain from the slash on his back and stomach, Naruto couldn't help but smile at the situation. Again, for the millionth time in his life, or so it would seem, the odds weren't in his favor. Well, can't cry about how unfair this is. I'm used to being the underdog. It's the norm for me. All of you better not underestimate me. I'm Naruto Uzumaki, the greatest shinobi in the world, and when it's all said and done with, I'll be the greatest wielder there ever was. The spirit of the blade, who had his arms folded, formed a small smile on his face. We shall see, Naruto. We shall see. Konoha Stadium 5 minutes later. Standing about 100 yards away from the battle, Sasuke, who had just shifted out of CS3, was holding Hayami, while Naruto lay on the floor. Sasuke could see the huge cylinder of a beam starting from where Sensuru was, rising past the clouds and into the heavens. What was that jutsu? That was definitely black fire condensed and concentrated so that it appeared as a beam. This guy, such power, and to use it the way that he's been using it, Sasuke noted. He then glanced down at Hayami. The girl was starting to come to in his arms. Slowly opening her eyes, her vision was blurry. She could make out a man with dark hair holding her, but wasn't quite sure who it was. When her vision finally cleared, a concerned-looking Sasuke came into view. Sasuke, trying to get herself together, everything that happened before she was knocked out came back to her. Looking to her left, she could see Naruto laying face up. She immediately jumped out of Sasuke's arm and took a step towards Naruto. Sasuke wanted to say something, but he couldn't. He just watched and waited for the girl to cry. What shocked him is that her tears never came. Instead, she looked at Naruto. It's okay, Sasuke. I'm not going to cry. Crying won't bring Big Brother Naruto back. I now understand what Father was trying to tell me, and I now see and understand why Big Brother Naruto was so strong. Father was right. I need to get stronger. If I was stronger, then he could have saved himself without worrying about me. I will get stronger so I can protect everyone and defend myself. Big Brother Naruto, I promise I will become stronger. I'm going to make you, Father, and Mother proud of me. Sasuke smirked at the little girl. Well, getting strong is good and all, but it will take some time. You won't get the strength you need to do what you wish to do at this moment. Trust me, I know. I don't want revenge, Sasuke. I just want to protect everyone from him, but I'm not strong enough. Yet, she said as she turned towards the battlefield. We'll see, Sasuke said. On the battlefield, The dust was starting to settle down, and everyone under the seal wondered what was going on. Shinji was too worried about his cousin that he really wasn't focused on the fight. Tsunade was worried about her son, of course. In her mind, she just lost one, and now it was a chance that she lost another. The dust started to clear, and standing with his black blade resting at his side was Aisu, wearing a grin of satisfaction. Glancing at everyone in the barrier, he addressed each of them. It seems that only the two warriors who had a remote chance to stop me are all gone. What will you do now? It's not too late to surrender, you know. Saphia's smile bothered Aisu. Why are you smiling, girl? You assume too quickly that you have killed your opponent. How cocky of you, Lord Raikage. She said the last part with a hint of sarcasm. Before he could say anything else, two phoenixes were coming at him from above at full force. Preparing to swing a sword at the phoenixes, a slightly bloodied and bruised Senjuro appeared behind him. There was no way Aisu could dodge the incoming attack and avoid Senjuro at the same time. The two phoenix crashed into the ground where Aisu was, causing an explosion. Jumping out of the dust that was created from the blast, Aisu was holding his stomach with blood, covering his hand. Stepping out of the dust, a slightly battered Senjuro spoke. So, you decided to take the slash, I see. We are both injured now, and this makes it that much easier. Aisu let go of his stomach. Don't get overconfident. I got sloppy. It's gonna take more than a slash to take me down. You of all people know that. What about you? I know that you're hurt as well. Just because you used purple flame cutter at the last minute doesn't negate the fact that you took damage. Senjuro responded. True, however. Aisu narrowed his eyes when he saw the cuts on Senjuro's body start to turn neon orange. Senjuro continued. You forget what I'm capable of. Aisu started to laugh. You're really funny. I have not forgotten Senjuro, but maybe you have. Well, if I must refresh your memory, then I'll do so by bringing you and this village to its knees by summoning Soros. Senjuro, Naya, Jiraiya, Tsunade, and everyone who was aware of the King of the Dragons knew that this fight had just elevated to the next level. With the blood already on his hand, black flames destroyed the bandage on his left arm, revealing a tribal dragon tattoo. Senjuro cursed himself. Shit, Zenos never said after the training that he would come to my aid. If he doesn't, then this fight is pretty much over. Well, we'll find out in a few seconds. Flying through hand seals, both warriors slammed their hands on the ground and simultaneously said, Summoning Jutsu! High above in the sky, a large black portal appeared. A black dragon with red eyes exited out of the portal and hovered above Konoha. Underneath Senjuro, an orange portal appeared. He was engulfed by the beam as it extended its reach to the sky. All who were present in the stadium saw a large reddish-orange bird shoot out of the portal, elevating Senjuro along with itself. When the phoenix was high in the air, the beam faded in orange and red flames danced it. High above Konoha, everyone could now see Zenos, the Phoenix King. Floating in the air with both of the owners of their respective contracts beneath them, the summons of legends were finally face to face with one another. Zenos was the first to speak. Why have you summoned me, Senjuro? You already know, Zenos. Why even ask? The bird did know, but he wanted an answer. He turned to see Zoros and Aisu. I see you're still trying to bring down that kid. It seems that we will be engaged in battle once more, Soros. The large dragon nodded. So it would seem, old friend. This fight will be determined by the skill of our users. I really don't wish to fight you, Zenos, but it cannot be helped. I suppose not. Either way, you better not hold back, Zenos said. When have I ever? Soros responded. Zenos' next words were directed at Senjuro. Let's make the first move. Doing a few hand seals, Senjuro yelled, Now! Zenos wasted no time in shooting a bullet of fire from his mouth. The purple flame flew at Soros, who glanced at Aisu. Do it! Aisu jumped towards the flame and split it in half, while Soros shot a stream of fire, attacking from beneath Zenos. As Aisu came close, he aimed his sword at Senjuro and two dragons came toward him and both Zenos. Senjuro jumped in the air while Zenos turned to the side to avoid the black flame that Soros shot at him. The two were now separated. Aisu smiled. Worked like a charm. Senjuro, who was now coming towards him, said, What worked like a charm? Flying out of a portal, Senjuro landed on the blue flame phoenix and flew off to Aisu's right. Another portal opened in the sky and Aisu could sense that he was a target for an attack. Shooting from the portal was a multitude of fiery phoenixes, all closing in on his location. 3 dragons raced towards Aisu and formed a ball around him, shielding him from the incoming blast. When the flaming birds made contact, the dragons disintegrated, leaving an exposed Aisu standing on the head of a smaller dragon. Aisu jumped off the dragon and landed on Soros. Senjuro landed on the phoenix's head. Both summons were standing before the other, neither making a move. Soros was the first to comment. "Your teamwork is commendable. Those hand signs were to create an opening and make us think that you two are using a jutsu in conjunction, when it was quite the opposite. That fireball that you shot, Xenos, was to lure us into the belief that we could separate you two, when it was your goal to separate us." "Clever as always, my friend," Xenos said. Aisu narrowed his eyes at Senjuro. "So you do have a brain in your head, I see. Either way you look at it, I'm going to walk away from this one, the victor. That's what you think and want to believe, but we both know that isn't the case. If I have to give my life to end yours, then I will," Senjuro said with conviction. Same old Senjuro. You already know my stance on the world, and I know yours. There's no reason to even try to dissuade you. Let us end this feud that has spanned for nearly 2 decades. Gripping the phoenix claw, orange flames rose as his chakra flared up. Aisu prepared himself as well. Black flames danced around the Cloud Village's leader. Both warriors were standing on their respective summons, high above everyone else. Neither made a move. They watched one another, waiting for the first to attack. Down below, with everyone under the seal, Tsunade, still weak from her battle, watched the aerial display brought on by the two. She glanced over at Hayami, Sasuke, and Naruto. She quickly looked away from Naruto in denial. She didn't want it to be a reality. She looked back up at the sky, hoping that the same fate didn't await her son. Sakura was watching her mentor. Glancing at Naruto, she found herself holding back tears. She understood her sensei's pain. "I know it must be hard, sensei. Don't worry, Senjuro's awesome. No way he loses, but I did think that about Naruto." The Kunoichi put her head down. She looked up and glared at the man on the dragon. She just wanted a crack at him, but she was the first to admit that she was way out of her league on this one. Glancing over at Yumi, she wondered how come she wasn't sad. Does she really believe that Naruto is still alive? She's in denial, but I guess I would be too if I lost the one I loved. Yumi was completely ignorant to Sakura's stare. All of her thoughts were directed at Naruto, who she knew was alive. Everyone turned towards the sky when they heard a loud clash. High above, in mid-air, both swords met once again, as both warriors leapt off their respective summons to battle. Black metal pressed against chrome stainless steel as the warriors struggled against the other, forcing each other back on their summons once more. Senjuro knew that he had only one shot at ending this battle. This fight is going to be a standstill. I have no choice but to do this. Senjuro decided that it was time to use his ultimate form. Xenos, it's time we become one. Very well, kid, but know that I'm only allowing this because you survived the test, and your resolve and conviction to stop him is strong, Xenos said. Senjuro closed his eyes and raised his blade high above his head. Red-orange flames engulfed both him and Xenos. Realizing what was about to happen, Aisu shifted his sword high above his head. Soros, it's time. The dragon nodded. Very well. Bringing the sword down onto the head of Zoros. The blade pierced the dragon's head and his crimson eyes started to glow. Aisu held onto the sword and black flames were being drawn into his body. Black flames completely engulfed Aisu and Soros. A stainless steel blade poked out of the red-orange flames. Senjuro brought the blade back into the flames and performed a horizontal slash that extended the blade to the left. That extinguished the Senjuro that everyone once recognized, and he was no more. His appearance was now completely different from where it once was. His hair was now red with orange tips. His eyes were no longer golden brown. They were now a fiery orange. Senjuro now had red wings with orange at the tip of the wings. Not too far from his location, a gust of wind caused the black flames to dissipate, revealing a transformed Aisu. Like Senzuru, his eye color changed from ice blue to crimson, with black wings adorning his back and a tail. He was now in his final form. Below. I guess they finally revealed the true power of their respective contracts. So now we'll get to see the power that was handed us by the gods, in hopes it would be used wisely. A power unlike any other, that's for sure, Jiraiya stated. Naya, who was trying to reinforce the shield as much as she could, responded. A power you rarely get to see in actual combat to comprehend what it is truly capable of, that's for sure. Those two really don't need to engage in combat for me to comprehend the power they wield. Personally, I would fail to take them out in my Eight Tails form, Sophia pointed out. Really? How is that so? I understand that their power is increased, but even so, you have a demon in you. Not only that, you can access all of its tails, Jiraiya said to the girl, trying to figure out how could the two be stronger than she. That's simple. I can access all 8 tails. But since I have yet to reach a level where my body can handle a full scope of 8 tails, I will never be able to grasp its full potential. It is like that with Koen, Awasato, and even Naruto. We are vessels in order to assimilate this curse or gift, depending on who you are talking to. None of us will be able to fight at the potential of the Biju within us. Even so, the legendary contractual summons and the 4 swords of legend. History has always been rooted on stopping demonic forces. The Snake Summon and Kusanagi, the Phoenix Summon and the Phoenix Claw, the Dragon Summon and the Dragon's Fang, and Heaven's Blade. The swords had to be made by the hand of God itself, whose sole purpose has been to stop the evil in this world. So you see, their power goes beyond that of even mine. It seems that with the case of Naruto as well, even though he wielded Heaven's Blade, if what you say is true, having access to the Nine Tails power wouldn't have mattered at all, Neji pointed out. It sucks Naruto is gone. He really turned the tide in Konoha's favor with his appearance. I just wish he was still here, Lee said a little sad. I told you he's not dead. It's faint, but he's still there. I don't know how to explain it, but he's still alive, Yumi said with a slight smile on her face. Nabi shook her head. She's delusional. I will admit, Naruto dying sucked, but it is what it is. The younger Hyuga just kind of felt bad for the girl. Losing the person you love is something you don't want to think about. Looking at the slightly taller Sarutobi, she smiled. Her expression then became sad when she thought about how she would feel if something happened to him. Everyone looked up at the 2 warriors as they hovered above in midair. Neji, Tsunade, Shinji, who was being supported by Hinata, Sakura, Yumi, and everyone else watched on as the 2 prepared to do battle in their ultimate forms, miles away from Konoha. A group of Cloud Shinobi stopped upon Koen's request. The Cloud Jonin that was carrying Koen wondered why they were stopping again. Lord Koen, why are we stopping again? Aisu's power has increased. He's finally transformed into his true form, Koen said in a serious tone. Looks like Naruto Uzumaki didn't stand a chance against my father, Reito said with confidence. He's not fighting Naruto anymore. I haven't felt Naruto's chakra force for a while now, which only means one thing. What does it mean, Sensei? Suki asked. It means that Naruto is dead. Everyone slightly shocked by Koen's comment. The Jonin seemed to be gloomy when coming to the realization that Naruto is dead. So, who's my father fighting now? Reito questioned. I don't know this person. Wait a minute. This chakra. It was the guy in the barrier. That means he's fighting Senzuru, Koen answered. Lord Koen, we should be heading back to the village, the Jonin holding him suggested. Nodding in agreement, Koen and the others continued their trek back to the Cloud Village. Hidden Leaf. Appearing on the ground below, both Aisu and Senzuru glared at one another with their newly transformed eyes. Senzuru was the first to break the silence. So, it's been a long time since we appeared in these forms, Aisu? It has been nearly 10 years if I remember correctly. You do remember what happened in that battle, don't you? Aisu stated in a cynical and taunting manner. Senzuru returned the look. Yeah, I remember you running with your tails between your legs. Not the battle I remember. I guess the healing abilities granted to you through that contract helped you recover from that slash to your chest. And I guess you fled from the injury caused by my sword that was placed in your stomach. Too bad I didn't hit a vital organ, Senzuru commented, causing Aisu to frown. Well, it seems our last 2 battles have ended in draws. There will not be a third, Aisu informed his arch-nemesis. I agree, closing his eyes and thrusting the phoenix claw forward. A multicolored phoenix shot from the blade and started moving slowly towards Aisu. When the phoenix got about 1/3 of the way, it started to glow orange. The phoenix then exploded, creating a field of flame-colored feathers. Aisu's eyes widened when all the feathers surrounded him completely. Shit, he's using phoenix feather already. I have to counter or it'll cause damage. Deciding to take to the air, a feather near him exploded, causing Aisu to drop back to the ground with the sword in his right hand cocked, ready to attack. Senzuru saw the feather floating in front of his chest, as well as the others that were floating around him. He knew that just one of them going off would trigger the others, creating a huge explosion that would create an immense crater. He didn't care though. If this was what it took to take Aisu down, then it was well worth it. One word exited from his mouth. Checkmate. Aisu brought his arms to his face to shield himself before the feather exploded. Once the feather exploded, it triggered the other feathers, causing one big explosion. Behind the barrier, Yugao watched as her boyfriend dealt a blow that could wipe out even the strongest of shinobi. She knew it was over. Wow, I wondered what would happen if this shield wasn't in place. Sophia was pumping more of her chakra into the shield to help protect everyone. Jiraiya pumped as much chakra as he could to reinforce it. Naya did so as well. What was mind-boggling was that this shield should have been able to withstand about just any attack. It was a level 7 shield. Their strength. Only Jinchuriki who has full control of their Bijuu should be able to break a level 7 shield. Using my demonic chakra as the reason the barrier is in place, that just begs the question, how the hell that Senzuru guy couldn't break a shield, unless Aisu was using his power to reinforce it himself. Thinking back, she remembered seeing a dragon tattoo on the forearm on each of the people holding up Senjuru's barrier. So they were actually drawing on his power as well as their own to keep him confined. I guess I was able to break it because I used a release seal, plus I drew on my Bijuu abilities. I will say this though, not only is the guy a good fighter, he's smart, or at least he was. I don't feel his chakra. Tsunade, who was also impressed by the attack and the level at which it was executed. But like Sophia, she too was wondering why Senzuru couldn't break free of his barrier, saying that both had the power to shatter a normal Tenun Kikai. She finally came to the conclusion that Sophia came to. Shit, he really had this planned out very well. I really underestimated the situation. How so, Lady Okage? Tenten asked. He was in control from the beginning. He took Senzuru out of the fight early, and if it wasn't for Naruto, then I would be dead, and it would be pretty much over. Also, that Mishinobi also helped by freezing Senzuru, so he could battle with Aisu. If this wasn't done, we would surely be dead, and the leaf would have fallen, Tsunade answered. Hayami's out there. I have to make sure she's okay. Let me go, Hinata, Shinji yelled out as his thoughts went to his cousin. Hinata used her Byakugan and saw Sasuke, Hayami, and Naruto's body. Shinji, Hayami is okay. Sasuke, he's shielding her from the blast. I see Senzuru, but I can't find the Raikage. Senzai Sensei did it, Makino yelled out in excitement. Kakashi knew that if it was too good to be true, it usually was. So, Senzuru's still alive. I got a feeling that it's not just over yet. Somewhere in Konoha, sitting in a chair at the root tree base, Danzo is contemplating his next move. I still need to be able to pull the strings from the background. This war was a perfect opportunity to solidify the Leaf as the one and only powerhouse. I didn't factor that Aisu would be this powerful, but luckily Senzuru came along. Danzo jumped out of his chair to avoid a kunai that grazed him slightly. So, I see you have betrayed me. I figure as much. Sigh. Standing before the man with darkness looming over his figure, and disguising himself from the naked eye, Sai flashes one of his smiles. Sorry, Lord Danzo, but I've been ordered by Lady Okage to eliminate all threats to the village. Do you consider me a threat? After all I've done to ensure the safety of this village, you dare call me a threat? Yes, you are as much of a threat as Aisu himself. Your goals will only keep the Leaf in a state of war with other nations. Danzo shook his head as he took a step forward. You really are clueless, aren't you? We are shinobi, which means we are instruments of war with one goal, to ensure that our nation prospers above the rest. Aisu understands that, which is why we are at war with Cloud. Do you think war will end? When this war ends, another one will come in its place. I've seen more than you could ever hope to see, boy. I lost more than you could ever hope to lose. And I know the only way to stop war is through war itself. So you're saying that if we are constantly at war with other nations, it will stop? You aren't making any sense, Sai said calmly. It makes perfect sense. You have to force other nations into seeing how strong one force truly is by not only defeating them, but utterly humiliating them. Only then will war stop. The peace that you wish for is nothing more than wishful thinking. Madara-sensei had the right idea. Madara Uchiha was the one who was responsible for forming the Konoha military police force in Root. I thought Root's goal was to protect. War will only cause pain. Your goals are no different from the Akatsuki's. A smile formed on Danzo's face. Root's goals are the Akatsuki's goals. About 6 members wearing Akatsuki cloaks appeared around Sai. This can't be. The Akatsuki was eliminated. Little naive Sai. I won't kill you here, but I will say this. The Akatsuki is the hand that guides the world. Konoha happens to be a nation that I favor since it is home to me and my master. That being the case, I will make sure that it stands above the rest once I take control. You're a member of the Akatsuki, but I thought that we had fallen. Since the loss and betrayal of Itachi Uchiha, we have remained low-key, watching from the shadows. Danzo walked towards Sai. That doesn't explain anything. I have explained all that I need for you to know. This war is only the beginning. Trust me when I say that no one can stop us. You should have never followed the rabbit hole. You now know what is really at the root of the great tree in which the leaves reside. Danzo stopped about 10 feet in front of Sai. Before Sai could react, he felt a sharp pain in his neck as he hit the ground. A cloaked member stood behind the fallen shinobi. When the shinobi pulled the kunai out to finish the job, Danzo raised his hand. No, I will spare his life this once. The cloaked shinobi spoke. Doesn't matter. He will die when they come anyway. True, but he will be our voice. For now, we will fade back into the shadows and wait. Was Kumoko ever recovered? Danzo asked. Yes, but she was on the verge of death. In fact, she is still in critical condition, the cloaked member behind Danzo stated. She has her father's potential. We can use her, but if she dies, then so be it. It will not be a major loss, Danzo said to the cloaked fighter. Well, Danzo, I don't think that it is wise for you to remain here in Konoha. When he wakes up, he will no doubt warn everyone about us. Looking at the cloaked member, Danzo nodded. That is what Master wishes. So, what about Sasuke Uchiha? One of the members asked. We leave him for now. When we get the orders, we will strike. For now, we fade back into the shadows. Everyone blurred out of view. Danzo looked at Sai. Foolish boy. You could have been at my side, but you chose to die with them. When they come, there will be no mercy for you or anyone. You chose the wrong side, Sai. This is only the beginning. Danzo faded out of view, leaving an unconscious Sai behind. Stadium. A cloud of dirt decorated the air, blocking everyone's visual. Slowly, the dust cleared and Sanjuro was the only one standing. Scanning the area, he couldn't find Aisu anywhere. He's not dead. He cloaked himself very well. A distance away, Sasuke and Hayami were observing the battle. Sasuke took note of Aisu's disappearance. He's not dead, so where could he be? Activating his Sharingan, Sasuke scanned the area for Aisu's chakra. After scanning the area Senjuro resided in, Sasuke's eyes widened at what he saw. What the? It was only an instant, but Senjuro felt the chakra beneath him. Jumping back to avoid red chakra that shot from the ground, Senjuro avoided the attack just in time. Demonic slice. He's gotten better with it. Senjuro's eyes widened when he sensed Aisu's presence about 10 feet behind him. With the horizontal slash attacking nothing, Senjuro turned around and had started to jump in the air but didn't get the chance. He was split in half from the waist. Slowly, his torso fell to the ground as did his lower half. Aisu smiled triumphantly. His smile soon faded when upon hitting the ground, his torso and his lower half turned into multicolored phoenixes. Looking to his left, Aisu saw Sensuru glaring at him. So, you were able to dodge Silent Curse. Surprising since it was an attack that isn't visible, or something that can't be heard. You forget I know how you fight, Aisu. Besides, Silent Curse wasn't executed with that slash. It was executed before that. I know that you don't need to use your sword for that jutsu. The fact was, my clone was already cut in half before you completed your slash. Sensuru smiled at his nemesis. You're able to read me, just like I'm able to read you. We're getting nowhere with this battle, Sensuru, which is why I will reduce everything to ashes. Raising his sword high above his head, his crimson eyes started to glow and black chakra encapsulated his body. A black dragon shot from the sword and made its way towards the heavens. When the dragon was high enough to be visible by all of Konoha, Aisu thrust his sword down, causing the dragon to pull it back towards his location. Jiraiya's eyes widened. If that hits, we're all done for. Naya agreed. We have to reinforce the shield. It doesn't matter. There's nothing we can do. When that hits, we're all dead, Sophia stated. Sensuru, however, had something else in mind. Red-orange flames encased his body, and his ember-colored eyes shined brightly. Twirling the blade at the hilt, he placed his right arm in the hilt underneath his left hand. As the dragon drew closer, Sensuru stabbed the earth. Just when the dragon hit, there was an explosion of red, orange, and black flames. Before anyone knew, the flames fused, forming purple flames that swept through Konoha in an instant. Before Sasuke could shield himself, the flames swallowed up both him and Hayami. Sasuke thought he was dead, but was surprised when the flames didn't harm him. He did notice that the purple flames were slowly starting to turn reddish-orange. As he and Hayami stood in the flames, he couldn't help but wonder what the hell was going on. Glaring at one another, Aisu and Sensuru both were tired of this battle, and it seemed to be a standstill. Aisu was standing within Sensuru's attack with a black flame shield. This battle is going nowhere. For every move he has a counter, I have a counter, and vice versa. Leviathan Phoenix Fire is useless since he can shield himself with a black flame, and Vast Fire of the Dragon will always be cancelled out by Leviathan Phoenix Fire. I didn't want to do this, but I have no choice. Raising his sword towards the heavens, the flames were getting sucked back into the blade. It only took a few seconds for all the flames that engulfed Konoha to disappear into the flame. Aisu's black flame dispersed and he started to laugh. Seems like nothing is working here, eh? Your efforts to kill me are all futile. Bringing Phoenix Claw to his side, the blade disappeared in blue flames. You're right. I am getting nowhere with this. I have no other choice. Performing the necessary hand sign, Sensuru brought his hands together, forming the Tiger Seal. Asuma, Genma, and Kurenai were the only ones present who recognized the jutsu. Kurenai's first reaction: no, he can't do this. Not again. Asuma's cigarette had hit the ground. He turned to Nai and yelled, "Bring the shield down, we have to stop him." Tsunade was thinking the same thing. She lost Naruto. There was no way that she could lose her son as well. Naya, Jiraiya, and Sophia, bring it down now. I'm sorry, Tsunade-sensei, but Sensuru requests that I make sure that you nor anyone else interferes if it comes to this. I'm sorry. Tsunade was furious. She charged Naya to knock her out, but when she aimed a punch at her head, a force field stopped her punch. Tsunade continued to punch the shield with tears streaming down her eyes. Yugao didn't do anything except stare at Sensuru, who was returning the gaze. She didn't have to hear his words. She knew by the sadness in his face that he was saying sorry. I guess I'm not meant to have love in this lifetime. Aisu didn't like what he was saying. He knew this jutsu all too well. Shit, Angel of Death. I can't even move now. It's taking effect. I can't die like this. I have to fulfill my dream. Sensuru addressed everyone. Mom, I'm sorry. This must be done. Jiraiya, take care of my mother, okay? Yugao, I never wanted to hurt you, but this is for the better. The sacrifice I make isn't only for the villagers, but it is for the unborn child that grows inside of you. Everyone was shocked by the news. What, think I wasn't aware? I know you're gonna be a great mother. Kurenai, Asuma, as my best friends, could you two look after my kid as if it was your own? Asuma nodded. Kurenai did as well. Limbo. Naruto was injured badly. Even though he was injured, he had no intention of quitting. Kneeling on the ground with blood dripping down his forehead, he was curious to what he needed to do in order to become the bearer. What am I doing wrong? I'm biting my heart out. I'm doing all I can. Wait, that's it. Ryuho was standing before Naruto, smiled when it finally clicked. So he realizes what needs to be done. Naruto slowly stood up. He was still surrounded by about 4 dozen of the former wielders. He smiled at Ryuho's father and addressed the older man. Hey, old man, thanks for helping me understand. I couldn't hear it before because for as long as I could remember, the only person I ever relied on and trusted was myself. I see to become the bearer, I need to put my faith into the sword. I need to put my faith into